Hi everyone, I'm James, and in today's video on my Spitfire restoration we are going to be looking at me putting the rear axle that I've done back in the car and reattaching the suspension components. You'll note that in the first part of the video there is a few shots that are before I pulled the spring out, but that's just how these things come together when you're editing things up after doing a whole heap of work at once. So here we go. Before I put the axle back on, I've got the shock absorber off because that needs a bit of a cleanup. It's still in relatively good condition. But I just need to replace the bushes, and before I jump into that, I'll just give the end rings a bit of a cleanup. One more job I've got to do before putting the axle back on is adjust the toe some more from some basic measurements. While the car was in one piece, I realised that there was too much inwards toe on this particular wheel, so I'll take that radius arm off so I can loosen the bracket and shim in behind it. I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch for now to the packing. It's just a rough estimate at the moment until I actually get on with doing a full alignment, but to accommodate that I'm going to move to a longer bolt so that the thread properly engages into the chassis, or in this case the body bracket. Now, with those bolts in place being slightly longer, I now have the opportunity to put locking nuts on the end of these bolts. They were like that originally, but when I put the temporary bolts in place before I was getting things aligned, the ones I had in there weren't long enough. So now I have longer ones in there, I can lock things in place. And next I want to get in and clean up this upper shock absorber mount. All tidied up and cleaned up. Certainly not perfect, but I just want the mount not to rust up in the meantime. Now to fit the shock, or refit it I should say. So we should have, yep, that seats really nicely in there. I should put some grease on this. Sure the bolt fits in nicely. Okay. Hello, killer. Right. All greased up. And torque for this nut is 38 foot-pounds. Just like that. And now on to bolting the axle to the diff. Having trouble with these unions, the only location that you can actually easily get the bolts in from, or I suppose out as well, is where when you have the holes lined up directly towards the rear of the car. So that face of the diff is the lowest profile compared to the union. That's all 4 bolts done up. I haven't torqued them because it's a bit hard to get a torque wrench in there, so instead I've just gone around and double checked the tightness of each one and ensured by feel they're about tight enough. Now on to the next job, which is bolting the radius arm back on. And finally here I'm attaching the brake line and the handbrake cable. Okay, so that's that axle all bolted in and attached to the suspension, ready for a spring to go in. So in the next video or two you'll see me get that spring in and the other axle back on the car so the car can get back on the ground. So if you want to see all that, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate you hitting the thumbs up. So hopefully I'll see you again next time. Catch you all later. Bye.